the hockey success formula. So it's become clear to me that many players are ignoring important parts of their hockey training. This is fine. If you don't care about succeeding and you don't care where you end up in hockey, then it doesn't really matter. You can perform in any way you want if you simply just show up and see what happens. Some players have great natural skill, and some players get lucky and they happen to do some good training just by chance. But that's not a very good probability. And if you're going to roll the dice and you had to try to hit a certain number, odds are you want to increase the likelihood that you're going to roll the number you want. So let's say that on that die, it's a 6-sided die, and imagine that you roll it and you could end up with 3 of those 6 being the number you want. So now it's a 50-50. Now it's really like a coin flip. Now you're going to want to take that bet. And now you're going to feel confident that you may actually win and get where you want to go. So it's fine if you don't. It's fine if you don't care where you end up. But consider that you don't want to just leave it up to a dice roll. You want to increase your chances of success. So I bet that you do care. I bet you do care because you're watching this video right now. And imagine hockey performance like a building. This is going to be something that's going to completely transform the way that you look at development. So consider your ability and consider your hockey performance like a building with pillars. So here's a great visual representation of that here. So you can see you have the lines here, and each of those lines represents a pillar that holds up your performance. Now you can imagine each of these pillars as something different. One could be skating, stick handling. One could be focus, one could be identity sense or hockey sense, one could be your strength or your power or your speed. But you have a ton of different pillars holding up the building. Now, each pillar has an important role, and it really builds into the strength of your performance and the consistency. Each one increases your chances of success and increases your chances of staying stable when more pressure is applied to the building. So when more difficult things are applied, so you go to a higher level, you play against a top team, you're going to have more challenges. So every single person has a different style of building. Sometimes it's you're really good at stick handling or shooting, so you have more strength in those 2 areas. Some players are great skaters, so that's their strength. And some players rely too much on just a few pillars. And then when the pressure comes and gets put onto their abilities, suddenly they start to fall. They crack and they crumble and they don't perform well. And this is the player that doesn't show up in big games because their abilities aren't actually as strong as you think. They simply just look very strong due to lack of pressure on the actual structure. So you need to increase the other pillars and have stable pillars across the entire board in order to be able to play well. Now, you can have really strong ones that you can always fall back on, but you do not want to forget about certain things. So hopefully this analogy allows you to understand this concept a little better and understand that if the building breaks down, this means bad performance in this analogy. I wanted to use this analogy because I think it's good to see a physical concept of what performance looks like. And a great example is a structure. So a bad performance could mean you had a bad game, you had a bad week, you had a bad month, a bad year, or a bad career. But you do not want that building to break down. You want to have it strong, and you want to keep building it and strengthening it so that no matter how high of a level you go, you always maintain high performance. So if we miss a pillar, and this is very common, what will happen is we think we're all set. We step into that game, we think we're good. We'll just be really good at shooting, so everything will be fine. But what if we never get the puck in a shooting position? This would be an example of when the building starts to break down, because once the pressure gets put on the building and the building is now being crushed down by this challenge to get the puck into a shooting area, it doesn't matter how strong one pillar is. The second that pressure gets put into that opportunity and now you can't shoot because you don't have the opportunity to shoot, you're done and you're going to lose that. So what I want to do is I want to push you forward, and I want to give you the tools to have an unbreakable building, and this means being an elite performer. So if you'll follow me into the next video, which we'll be posting shortly, you will have access to the actual pillars that make up high performance. We're going to walk through all 16 pillars. They're going to be very important, and we're going to talk about how they all play into your performance. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Click the link underneath here, and you'll see how you can watch that next video. Thanks for watching, and I'm Corson Searles from Identity 2.0.